What's good everyone on YouTube? This is Very Mellow-Man, and welcome to the Let's Play of Mega Man 7. Can't this thing go any faster, Otto? The city's under attack. I'll try and punch up a notch. Well, hold on, Roll. I can't believe Wily's loose again. Won't this madman ever stop? He won't be this for long. Once Dr. Light gives Rush and me our new enhancements, Wily is history.
But is
Well, in the line, the road is too unstable to keep going. You two wait here.
This
Mega
really
Man, take his helmet with you. The music being lame here is very appropriate. I guess not. Personally, I kind of like the other one. Yeah, that's a lot better. Getting this,
was actually
Mega Man. Getting this cutscene
shockingly happy ending.
is the first big leap from the NES to the SNES era. Doctor, are you okay? I'll be like Will to take care of you.
Or the robot. But yeah, it's kind of weird that now.
No, Mega Man, we have no time. Wily's using the attack of his robots to cover his escape. Look. Yeah, look at how good the game looks.
Dr. Wily.
You've got to go now, Mega Man. Get Rush and follow Wily's spaceship.
I wonder what the.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, god damn it. Oh, god damn it.
Here I go. That's a, Butterbean tank and a Butterbean top. And the good old-fashioned tour. Right there. So, Butterbean tanks, you know... And this is our first mini-boss. The, Mad Grinder. Attacks by attempting to roll over Mega Man and firing its spinning blades from its head, as you can see. Deceptive, but once you understand where its spinning blade will land, it's not that big a deal. But yeah, the Bumblebee tanks. Bumblebee tanks and Bumblebee helicopters are robotic that will create a Bumblebee top when their bodies destroyed. But if you do enough damage to them completely, better tell me who you are. I'm Base Ace Trouble. We've been trying to stop Dr. Wily. You were... Yeah, sorry. It's kind of difficult reading information on the enemies and everything else at the same time while this is going on. But yeah, there isn't much to talk about with bass and treble. So let's just go into the Burst Man stage. The music in this game is really good. That's the first compliment I have for it. It's the most obvious compliment I have for it. And going through these, another Bumblebee tank, of course. So this is the first obstacle we get, these timed bombs that will need to be activated with pressure-sensitive things in order to, like, get you anywhere. We have more turrets as well. And one secret here is getting an energy tank by going down that path to get that bomb that I just got right there. Now, that flying enemy... I need to look for that. sorry about this. This is like when, yeah, tri-propellants. Fly enemies that can shoot from 3 cannons and drop bombs. As you can see here, we also have issues with the, well, you know, like I said, I'm not going to say I'm super great at playing Mega Man games. In fact, I'll be super transparent about this, since we're here. There's going to be a lot of editing and a lot of cuts you'll see later on down the line where I take out my failed attempts on bosses and levels for the sake of brevity. Because if my Mega Man 3 video has proven anything, is that I would rather just make a smoother watching experience over making people watch me fail to get something done. I'm not afraid of showing off my defeats. It's just that I don't think these videos need to be 3 hours long, you know? I managed to cut down all my footage into sub 2 hours, which I think is very appropriate for Mega Man 7's overall game length. So, we go through those fish enemies. We'll beat back this mine. We'll get that extra life up there. I think those are what? Turbo Rotors? Kintots. Those fish enemies are called Kintots. Goldfish-like enemies that swim about or hop in fluid. And we do mean hop in fluid. Because the thing with Burstman stage that the other gimmick here... Well, we haven't gotten to it yet, but we'll see when we get there. And right now you have to swim past these Meteors. And be mindful of the ceiling, because there are also spikes on the ceiling. So, touch those, it's instant game over. The games can progress in graphics as much as they want, but they'll never let up on that particular detail. And we have another mini-boss. This is the Pentagons, a large crab-like sub-boss. It packs with energy shots and bubbles, and when its health gets low, it will attempt to ram into Mega Man, which is when you will duck underneath it to dodge its attacks. Duck and slide. And this is the other stage hazard I was talking about. Excuse me there. Yeah, this liquid will rise and fall, and it will affect your ability to float and reach new obstacles like ladders. Well, I mean, it is an obstacle in and of itself, I should say. The disappearing blocks make a return, so get the timing right on these in order to cross the path forward. Luckily, it's not that big of a deal here. But there's a second one that's coming up, and that's a lot more daunting. I did not get that on the first try, by the way. Like I said, you're not going to be seeing all my first attempts. Mega Man games really do require... The platformer genre as a whole, I do like, but I have to admit, I've never been prepared for just how precise some of these, we collected the first rush thing. So, okay, we collect, just like how we had to collect the 4 letters that spelled out beat in the previous Mega Man game in order to unlock beat, here we have to collect 4 letters that spell out rush in order to collect the rush adapter. Or the rush super adapter, rather. We'll get to what that does when we unlock it later on in the game. But for right now, I'm just gonna say you're not gonna see me collect all the letters on camera again, because in order to get all the letters, you'll have to replay stages. And I decided it was not worth showing my stage replays for the most part. Oh, that thing. Tom Daddies. Tom Daddies are large, slinky-like enemies that climb on floors and ceilings. They can even drop down from ceilings. But now we're gonna fight Burst Man himself. Burst Man. His entire thing is that he's basically Bubble Man, but a lot edgier. He uses bubbles, but what he'll do instead of Bubble Man, where Bubble Man alone just attacks you with bubbles, he hides bombs as bubbles. So basically, the gimmick here, well, the challenge here is don't get destroyed by the ceilings on top of the level. You have to basically just avoid the ceilings. Just avoid the spikes, and heal up it when necessary. You got an E-tank in the stage for a reason. Auto fire is like a godsend here. It's not going to always damage him because he does have Mercy Invincibility when you hit him. But it's a lot better to spam to just use your Mega Buster here. One thing I will say though, the Mega Buster Charge Shot is not worthwhile in this game. And there we go, there's Burst Man. We beat Burst Man. It's recommended that you basically fight Burst Man first, because he's the easiest one to defeat with just the Mega Buster. So we want the Danger Rat, which fires a bomb encased in a bubble. Yeah, but it can also be used to encase other things besides bombs. Not everything is vulnerable to that aspect of the Danger Rat. Which is why you will not be seeing me use it very often. And that's the first time to get the password screen. I don't show off all of these because after a certain point we get it. It's not really necessary. So next up is Cloud Man. Cloud Man stage. Really cool looking. And again, I like that music here. Really like it. So, those flying bird enemies will always attack you in a pattern, and you then have to avoid like I said, you have to avoid some other stuff, like I did. This whole recording took place over multiple sections. So you're seeing me basically just kind of, and obviously all this is post-recording. You're hearing me do a voiceover over all the gameplay I've already completed. Unlike my first couple of Let's Plays where it was live recordings. So you can see now how that whole thing works. And I have to actually stress that the platforming here feels a lot more demanding than the last couple of games were. It's almost, I don't think even Mega Man 1 was like that. It feels like, I know this game took 3 months of dev time to make, and it's incredible that it was made in that much time and came out this high quality. But there's still some flaws of it, as you can see. The Telltale. Okay, yeah, Telltale. The Serenatori is what those bird things are. They travel in packs, they'll attack you, basically you can disrupt their flight patterns by destroying one of them, and they will not attack you later on down the line. The other thing, I think, Kaminari Kogoros, which are those things you can encase in the bubble, in the Danger Rat. They're some of the only enemies in the game that I know are weak to the Danger Rat. But, like I said, we don't really, this is me still trying to get some use out of the Mega Buster. I wasn't quite aware of it yet, but the Mega Buster only doubles the amount of damage a standard Buster Shot does. But in past games, the Mega Buster was triple the damage. And that thing is called a Telltale. They're weather-like balls that change the weather depending on how you attack them. So if you attack one like I did here, they'll cause it to rain. But if you have the ice boss weapon, you can freeze it and cause the entire stage to turn snowy instead. I kept trying to get that particular health life up, but I didn't know how to do that. And I'm still trying to figure out if I can actually destroy this thing or not with anything else, because I really wasn't able to do it. And unfortunately, I realized too late that you really just can't destroy it. Well, you can destroy it with the ice weapon, but I don't have it with me, and the ice weapon is like the last one you unlock in the intended weakness order. We've got another Kaminari. I gotta admit, the names of these generic enemies being so Japanese is why it's so difficult for me to, like, find them, give you information on them, and tell you what they're like at all. It's so hard. Okay, this next section here requires you to float on cloud platforms and defeat another upcoming Tri-Bomber. It's really weird. Yeah, there we go. Alright. It's not a whole lot to comment on because of the amount of weighing I do. Now this part is also where it's most apparent that you can unlock the ability to... Yeah. Like, you lose a life in the stage after you pass by a porthole, the weather will turn back to normal. So, what you do now is just deal with the rest of the stage. Mega Man. God, I'm such a... Alright. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's reason I'm not else I can say here. Back here, we can attack these flying things again, and it's an invisible path. Those things. Those things are actually pretty interesting. Telltale. Where are they? Okay, driver cannon. The Beru peepees carry large eggs full of child peepees, and you can use those to destroy them to farm for items. That's a Sniper Joe. The more things change, the more Sniper Joe tends to stay the same. Okay. So, I guess what's interesting about this is that the first couple of Roman Masters you fight were in stasis in case Dr. Wily was arrested. So, Wily built these Robot Masters of his in preparation for the events of Mega Man 7 this time. They're a Freeze Man. Right. Cloud Man. More BB tanks. Now up there is the one time you'll see me get another collectible on this live stream that's going to relate to a hidden weapon you can get. It's, that whistle. It's Proto Man. It's been a while, Mega Man. Here's a little information. Your weapons can be used to discover hidden areas. Try using the flame weapon in the woods. That's a hint to tell you how to find Beat, by the way, but we're not going to do it on camera, like I said. Point is, find Pro Man, get Pro Man hints. Find Pro Man enough times you can get his shield. You never see me get his shield on camera, either. I just gave up on trying to get those bolts. Wasn't really important. And here, is the best way to get bolts in the game. Time for Junkman's level. I gotta say, Junkman's like the scariest looking robot master in the franchise. Like, maybe it's just because of how messed up he was. I guess it's just the combination of his really busted up face and his distorted grin. Those are just cockroaches. I'm not gonna bother giving you what the actual name is. Those are just cockroach robots. It's not super important to figure out what they're actually called. So the obstacle here is that these are, well, I mean, they're cockroach robots because Junkman's level is based around being like a junkyard, you know? Trash. You're picking up trash. And it also fits Junkman's designation to find parts that could be used to create robots. He's kind of this place here is a little bit deceptive because it makes you think you need to use certain weapons in order to pass it, but it's just an area where you fight people. It's not super important that you don't get every little thing here. Not really. Take care from their cockroach. Robot cockroaches, I think, are even less scary than regular cockroaches, I think. I'm not sure. Like, cockroaches are scary when they're small and they're crawling up next to you. And I've played too many Fallout games to, like, not be bothered by the perspective of giant cockroaches. So one of these days... Hey look! Exactly what Dr. Wily told us this weapon was used for. It's really nice to have that come into play this early. In fact, it's really nice because if you don't have Cloudman's weapon, good luck, because you're not continuing through the stage without it. Like, stage hazards are one thing. Every game has had one, and a certain weapon can be used to pass the hazard. Like, this is the first time I've played a Mega Man game where you needed a boss weapon in order to actually beat the level. You needed to. And I have heard criticisms of that approach to the boss design here. Now, what you saw there is me losing my life and just cutting into the future to where I made it back to this part of the level. Because, yeah, checkpoints or not, it's a long trek back, and the time adds up if you lose more than one life at a certain location. But, like I was saying earlier, that is not really something I was doing on purpose. My controller stick drift is very obnoxious. But, like I said before, it's very much something that's, there's only 4 Robot Masters you can fight at the beginning of the game this time, which is different from every other game's 8 all at once, and even different from the first game's 6. And because of that, the level designers could force you to, could more appropriately balance these levels out to challenge you by making sure they have a better idea of where you're going to go, and therefore have a better idea of what they'll need to prepare for each level to challenge you with. That's why everyone goes with get Burstman's weapon first and then destroy Cloudman, because Junkman's level is impossible to pass unless you have the Thunder Beam. And because of that particular issue, some people have said that they don't like this game's lack of replay value. I'm sure a Mega Man expert could beat Cloudman without getting Burstman's weapon, no problem. It's just that because of the way Cloudman floats, it's a lot easier to use the Danger Wrap, since it's essentially a flying weapon to fight a flying boss with. And then with that taken care of, you can get Junkman's weapon with Cloudman's weapon. Alright, so Junkman is made from old robot parts and metallic pieces of garbage held there by electromagnetic force. Because of his strength resilience, Wily modifies him for combat. Now, I did lose a life here, but as you can see, Junkman's pattern is very, very easy to learn once you calm down and reassess what you're actually doing with him. Hit with his weakness, slide over to the left, hit with his weakness, slide over to the right, repeat and repeat. Because he has a shorter recovery time than Cloudman does, but it doesn't really do him all that much good. Yeah, you can actually damage him pretty easily if you know how his attack pattern works. And even for someone who sucks at these games like I do, that's a godsend. So the Junk Shield protect the user with rotating spheres, right? Yes, but the spheres can only absorb so much damage before they are destroyed. That doesn't matter. The Junk Shield is like the best shield weapon in this entire franchise. It's one of the best weapons in this game, period. So, I'm going to show you guys where you can use all those bolts you can farm and get from random stages with the auto shop. And there is Eddie, the little robot that's been helping us get power-ups for the last 3 Mega Man games now. Otto is the one who created Eddie. And this is the shop where Eddie gets all those items to give us in the other games. Now with bolts, we can just buy those items for ourselves and get things like E-tanks and extra lives. So this is a little demonstration of how to farm for bolts. Get the Giant Shield, do that, and literally profit. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, you'll get hit sometimes, but because of the rate at which you'll be getting items to drop, you'll easily get back health pickups, special weapon pickups, even bonus lives if you're really lucky. So with that taken care of, I also spent the rest of my time grinding up all the bolts off screen, getting so many that I maxed out my E-tanks and my lives, and now we're just ready to go and do the rest of the game. So this polar bear mid-boss is really easy to beat. It's not even really worth, Shiroku-machine. Just the Shiroku-machine. I get it, white polar bear, whatever. But the Shiroku-machine is very easy to beat. Yeah, more stick drift issues. I'm not going to be able to replace my controller anytime soon, so playing these platforms is just going to get harder and harder. Just zero effort, really. Like, actually nothing. Let's see. In this stage, we'll have icicle text that will provide us platforms made of icicles in order to cross, and we'll also have to deal with true shield attackers that are protected from our attacks, but can be destroyed really easily from the back, or we can slide under them if we don't want to fight. We can go up here to get the second rush letter. Be careful with their platforming. And we can also get another rush-related power-up in this level. Beat the Sniper Joe first. I don't know why I did that. It's, being able to cycle weapons without going to the weapon menu as well, by using either the designated shoulder buttons or whatever other buttons you feel comfortable mapping to your controller, is also great. But you really need precision platforming in order to get the rush search weapon. Like so. And this part, I hated this part. You have no idea how many times I lost a life at this part. yeah, it is very difficult to actually make it up there without getting a life, without losing your life. We don't need to fight this third Shirokuma, we can just bounce up there. Mega Buster's kind of weird. I don't know, I think I'm at the point where I won't really use a special weapon unless I know it's actually worthwhile. But because of that, Mega Buster just seems more reliable to bother with. I think I've been playing these games the wrong way. They've trained me not to really bother with the special weapon, unless it's a boss weakness. Freeze Man. Originally built as a prototype robot, which used non-polluting energy before being modified to combat Dr. Wily. He can split the normal ambient temperature in the air to hot and cold, using the former as his energy source and allow it to attack with his freeze cracker. He's weak to the junk shield because ice can be shattered and cracked apart by enough weight of a hard enough impact, and the junk shield's metal projectiles are exactly that. But what's really fun about the guy is that he has a special, like, boss taunt for you if you use his freeze cracker against him in the boss rush. He'll just mock you as the freeze cracker heals him. The freeze cracker fires ice bullets, doesn't it? Yes, and the bullets will split when they hit the ground. That's really good for clipping bosses. It really is. Alright, we got the freeze cracker. But since we beat all 4 of these bosses, we get another cutscene. Welcome home, Mega Man. Dr. Light, what do you think of Bass? His actions don't seem to indicate a threat. I don't believe he is our enemy. But what's this? Oh, I called it. What is this? Wily is attacking the robot museum. You must leave now, Mega Man. I'm on, Wyatt, sir. Now, if you're listening to the background music here, you can tell it's reminiscent of the stuff from Mega Man 1. And so are several of the robot masters that we can see here. Like, there's Blizzard Man right there. And there's Heat Man over there. It's a nice little nostalgic trip. And you can see there, Guts Man is being taken. Guts Man is being taken. Literally, basically. Let's see. And this is the boss fight for this area. The Clown. The Clown, he's pretty self-explanatory. I had a lot of trouble figuring out how to hit him at first. Like, I eventually figured out it was his head. But how do I get the head off his body? And then how do I get the head to take more damage? What's the actual weakness? Every time you see me trying to get a weapon, it's because of my stick drift. That's all there is to it. It's very, very obnoxious. But that's what I get for thinking I could go without buying a new controller. Now I have no way to get a new controller. Anyway, the Clown only has one attack, and that's bounce all over the goddamn place. So, I eventually thought Mega Buster, and that did it. But then I realized that, yeah. Then I went back to Thunderbolt. Or at least I'm trying to go back to the Thunderbolt. Stick Drift. And I can't really tell if it takes double damage at least. And the problem here is that I'm more used to switching from my menu, looking at my menu for the appropriate weapon over relying on, like, weapon swapping buttons, because the latter could potentially cycle me into a weapon I don't really want. Or I might lose a life before I lose my, before I get the chance to find the weapon I need. So despite all that, I do take the L here. Because there's really no way for me to, like, deal with this guy without running out of resources on my first attempt. So, this is the literal second attempt. I didn't do much more than this one other attempt. Found a better weapon to use against him. The danger wrap, of all things. Look at how much more health he's losing. It's insane. But yeah, I ran out of danger wrap ammo, so have to use the Mega Buster here. Well, back to the third anyway. And that does it. Back to the laboratory. Mega Man, it's a disaster. Wild robots are rampaging throughout the middle of the city. Get going! And at this point, you unlock the second set of Robot Masters to fight. And we start with Slash Man, this Wolverine-looking dude. So like I said off camera, I was going to collect the Rush names off camera. And here it is, the Super Adapter. Mega Man 6 gives you 2 Rush forms. Jet Rush, Jet Adapter, and Power Adapter. Power Adapter allows you to basically fly and use the power gauge, the stretch weapon gauge, as a meter to show you how long you can keep hovering in midair. And Power Adapter gave you a charge shot that was like a short-range rocket punch that destroyed things like Gutsman's weapon used to. The Super Adapter in 7 essentially combines both of those power-ups into the same one. It's an idea you'd think would be really obvious in hindsight to do for 6, but hey, you know what? That's fine. Gives this game something to innovate on. And yeah, basically, instead of hovering in midair, you shoot forward in a diagonal double jump. And it's really nice for catching those, for clutching those platforming sections. Really nice. Below up the charge shot, which is the feature it adapts from the Power Adapter. And yeah, it still has the same rocket punch charged shot idea. Basically, it shoots forward though. You do the charge shot, it shoots forward, that sort of thing. So it's also way more reliable than the Mega Buster is. It's like, for some reason, I don't know why they did it, but for some reason, the Super Adapter's charge shot does the same amount of damage that the Mega Buster did with its charge shot back in 5 and 6. Which is why it's way more reliable to use than the standard Mega Buster charge shot on classic blue-skinned Mega Man. Now, if you wonder why I was stuck there for, I was trying to figure out if I wanted to go upstairs in case this was another secret, or if I was meant to go upstairs and this is actually the way I need to go. And this main boss is a Tyrannosaurus Rex robot. I don't care what its official name is, you're just fighting a giant robot. This is the Jurassic Park level. I wanted to use the charge shot against this guy, but since it fires straight forward like that, it wasn't really reliable. It was safer to use the auto fire from the Mega Buster standard. Yeah, sorry about that. Basically, had to go take care of some stuff. Anyway, I thought about switching weapons because I thought this thing had a weakness, and I was getting a little bit afraid, but eventually I remembered it was a mini-boss and just kept going forward. The good old Mega Buster. Shooting all those lemons. Alright. And this section right here is pretty much the last one. If you paid... Now, I had forgotten about Pro Man's hint earlier because, like I said, these levels, this gameplay was recorded over several different days. So I did not recall the hint that Pro Man gave me, and, well, I did recall... Even if I did recall the hint, wow. We don't have the Scorch Wheel, so we couldn't actually rescue Beat right now, even if I wanted to. We heal up, and then we use the Freeze Cracker, prepare that to fight against Slash Man. And while we don't have actual save states anymore, I will appreciate the ability to save before a boss. You see there, Slash Man could have gotten hit by one of those stray icicles. This is his other gimmick. Step in that red goop and you get left vulnerable. So Slash Man was created to help Wily create his secret bases to begin with. He has great movement, speed, and agility while possessing very sharp claws. And he's weak to the cold Freeze Cracker weapon for the same reason that Quick Man was weak to the Time Stop power. Someone that moves that fast doesn't like doesn't like having his movement impaired. And Rigor Mortis impairs movement. So there's Slash Man. His Slash Claw weapon is probably something I really could have used more often. Slash Claw cuts things apart, doesn't it? Well, duh, Mega Man. But it also has limited range. No, that's it. That's all. Okay, the Slash Claw doesn't have anything else going for it. It's just a limited cutting ability. Spring Man. Spring Man stage. Lots of fun to actually play around in. I don't even care about the environments too much. Or the stage hazards too much, because they're just springs, man. It's fun to bounce on springs in a video game. But Spring Man is a Rod Master who's mostly just made of springs. So he's very light, and that allows him to jump very far. And I'm saying that because, well, really, I'm mostly saying that because I don't have anything else to really need to add here. The type of enemies we'll encounter here are very appropriate to the level, though. Tom Daddies, which I already explained earlier. But it's also... Oh no, Tom Daddies are actually introduced here. Petaphorphs are the enemies I was talking about earlier. We saw those earlier. But they look so similar to each other, Tom Daddies and Petaphorphs. You can't blame me for, like, not getting those correct. One weakness a Super Adapter has, though, is that you cannot perform a slide. You still need to use the slide in order to progress throughout these levels. So you have to disengage in the Super Adapter Mega Man form if you want to progress through the game. But beyond that, the reason you're going to see me wearing it so often is because there's really no reason to take off the Super Adapter for the most part. Because, like, even if you use stage weaknesses for the enemies here, you don't need them. They're super not necessary for that. And the Rocket Punch Charge Shot is good enough to basically damage everything that cannot be destroyed in a few hits by your Mega Buster. Well, yeah. And this is why I learned that you don't need to really double jump with the super adapter. You just need to land in midair, like when you're falling, and then press the jump button to do a little boost. I thought there was going to be a secret here because the way this level was composed was very strange to me. But no, the secret in the stage is actually here, and it's a very important secret for us, but we need to get there and get it first. So get rid of the tri-cannon. Wait for that thing to not attack you. I thought I had to jump on it, but no, it hurts you, so just ignore that. Looks like you actually need to get the super adapter to get up here anyway as well, so it's like a prerequisite because I cannot see anyone manage to do it here. Well, I did that on accident, but ultimately you're supposed to stand on top of this thing in order to get over here. And we get the Hyper Bolt. We can give that to Otto in his shop, like he mentioned missing, and it will upgrade him. Basically, when you get Otto his Hyper Bolt, Otto will not only sell you new items in his shop, but he'll have two other features. The first is that he will sell you any power-ups that you are not able to find while playing the stages regularly. Like the Rush Jet power-up, for example. Which is not the same thing as finding the Rush adapter like I'm wearing. It's not. That's, so yeah, three things he'll do. The first is that it upgrades his shop so that he'll sell you new items He'll sell you new items flat out. That's the first thing. And one of the most important new items he'll sell you is an upgrade to the charge shot of the super adapter, which will allow it to not only deal more damage and travel farther, but it will home it in on enemies, just like Beat used to. The second thing he'll do... Oh, here's Slash Man. Alright. Yeah. Right there. And... takes me a while to get it. But I eventually realized that the guy... Yeah, I lost because I tried to get the timing on how to dodge his attacks, but it's not a big deal. The guy is super easy. Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, he's also actually capable of being killed in one hit by using the Noise Crush weapon if you have it, but we don't have it, so we'll just kill him the old-fashioned way. There, right there. Wait for his invincibility to wear off, dodge his two easily dodgeable attacks, and just cut him up, right? Spring Swings will crushing attacks fairly well, but are more resistant to being cut with the proper equipment in your metal, which is why the Slash weapon is super effective against him. And just like Junkman for him, the reason this works is because for him, he has a really easy to exploit pattern where hitting his weakness allows him to become easy to dodge. Nothing else to really say there. I never did get to use the Noise Crush ability on him because that requires breaking the stage order in order to get it. From Shade Man. But remember to charge the coils to make them jump higher. Yeah, you really need to remember that part. The wild coil is essential to beating the game. You'll see why when we get there. But now we're in Shade Man's level. And yeah, like I said, the super adapter gives you so many benefits. Right there. Again, off camera, I farmed up more bolts to buy the upgrade to the Super Adapter Charge Shot, one that cost me a cool 800 bolts to get. But there's a really good reason it costs you 800 bolts, because it does that. And these are Astro Zombies, which are in Shade Man stage because he is, you know, a vampire. He's themed around undeath like Pharaoh Man is. So they have similar style. They have similar style minions going for them. And yeah, Shade Man also has baton enemies as well. Oh, and these guys. I don't know how to avoid running to them, but yeah, that happens. You just go far. You'll run into these mooks. You run into these mooks. You run into these mooks again and again and again. I tried to avoid this third one. I knew it was coming, but I didn't know how to actually avoid it. So I just ate the damage over there. This is a crow. It's just a crow. Like, some of the levels and some of the guys are pretty interesting to talk about. And don't worry, the, yeah, it can fly farther, but the range isn't technically infinite. Actually, I think about it, I don't think I actually got the upgrade this part. No, I got it. Ooh, right. Floor hazard. That's also a ceiling hazard. Batons. Invulnerable when their wings are folded up. Now this mid-boss is called the Van Pumpkin. It's a robot consisting of 3 pumpkin robots, one inside the other. It's actually jumping on Mega Man and firing green projectile shots. Defeating it will reveal a different path depending on whether the outer pumpkin was defeated or the inner pumpkin. So, you can get another Pro Man based secret from this. But I personally didn't really bother. Yeah, I lost, so that's why I had to, like, do this all over again. I don't have anything else to really say here. You have to fight. It's really difficult to intentionally get the Pro Man secret for me. Although, the part I realized too late is that it would be easier for me to fight the boss if I gave myself the ability to slide. Actually, what is this thing weak to? Not think of that. Oh, it's weak to the Thunderball. And the outer shell has 16. Okay, both the outer and inner shell have 16 hit points. So, if I remembered the Thunderball weakness before I fought, it would not have been this rough. Luckily, it doesn't damage you when it does that. So, you know, just double check and make sure I got the wrong place. I'm going to the right place. Sniper Joe, what's up? I really wish Sniper Joe had a name, I guess. These Roman soldier-looking robots, I guess. They're Roman soldiers. And lights out. Yeah, the homing ability of the rocket punch is genuinely able to, like, stay up there as long as it can potentially hit something. I'm not gonna lie, I just booked it because it was better than getting scared. And this next section is another gauntlet type thing where we have to survive as long as we can by destroying enemies. More zombies. Zombie robots are such an interesting oxymoron because the whole point of a robot is that it's not made of the same things that a zombie is typically made of, which is people. But, you know, zombies. Alright. Love you. Love this thing so much. They take a beating, that's for sure. Yeah, the Astro Zombie take a beating. And we run into base again. I feel so stupid being defeated so easily. Maybe I should leave Wily alone. No, we are a team. Not the light will be glad to fix you up. Thanks, I'm glad I have you as a friend. I wonder if any of the kids playing this game back in the day genuinely thought base was on their side. Like, I wonder how that was advertised in commercials. Cause I think I would have been fooled as a kid if I genuinely didn't know any better. Shade Man, the vampire robot. So he has a proper weakness to the wild coil, but it's a lot easier to hit him with the super adapter's charge shot, and he's just as weak to it, as you can see. And I was still not used to using the super adapters, the wild coil. So we took care of Shade Man, brought him to the light. The super adapter and the wild coil are technically anti-air attacks, which is why Shade Man is weak to them. That's the logic behind his weakness. Noise Crusher is a powerful sonic wave. Yes, and you can amplify the wave by absorbing the reflected wave with your body, which is the coolest thing about this weapon. I don't use it very often because it requires me to use it against things in general, but Noise Crush is fun. There's the password I've gotten so far. The final Robot Master stage, Turbo Man. A 401 transforming race car. And this level starts with a pretty big surprise. We get a mini-boss right off the bat. A Truck Joe, which is a Sniper Joe on a large spike-fronted truck. It has 16 health points, so just fight it and deal with it. With the Mega Buster, because for some reason the Super Adapter's charged shot doesn't work. But we took care of it. Oh, well, thinking about it, maybe it did work, and I just didn't think it didn't work because I didn't see any mercy and invincibility. But yeah, these cone things, these racing cone robots can be destroyed in one sharp shot. Hey, Sniper Joe! We just took care of one of your brothers. Bouncing on these tires is the obstacle here, which is why you're gonna see me kind of struggle with that a bit. The platform necessary to they don't hurt you, but they are designed to force you to fall into other obstacles, like that bottomless pit over there, that spike pit over there, which is why I just cut down and went to this other area. Don't fall into this hole, because that will happen. So, and you'll have to literally redo the stage. It's not worth it. But either way, we're good to go. We passed the obstacle regardless. These spiked tire things are annoying. Really. Genuinely annoying. What are they? Trio the Wheel. Their name is Trio the Wheel. My god. And that's basically all there is to say about this place. Trio the Wheel. Another Trio the Wheel. Second rock in a hard place. Yeah. Those things are tanky as crap, in all sincerity. I think you have to destroy your 3 tires in order to get to the actual head. Yeah, I can't tell you what I was pausing for. I've completely forgotten. But either way, we're good to go here. A stage where it's better to freeze things or to pass through the level. Which is why I went to the freeze level. Freeze cracker. Okay. Now, yeah, it wasn't that far back, so I could just afford to, like, do this, which is freezing. This actually made me do worse at this obstacle, thinking about it, because I wasn't patient enough to just freeze things. I don't know, it takes me back to the way Volcano Man stage worked, or whatever his name was in Mega Man 1. I wasn't very good at freezing obstacles with the ice weapon in order to use them as, like, you know, stepping stones. I wasn't very good at it. My folly. The Quick Man. The Quick Man obstacle comes back. Yeah, so after that, that's pretty much what I ended up doing. Now for the next mini-boss here. We're not going to start... The mini-boss is the truck. The CC truck. It'll send out CC rockets at the Mega Man, and it has 24 hit points. Finally, its eyes are its weak point. So, you know, don't worry about it too much. I used the junk weapons here, just to prove a point about them being pretty good. And, I don't know. I thought at first I had to destroy the missiles, which is why junk shield was the better option for me to use. But eventually I realized that I had to attack the eyes. Eventually I realized it. Also, the projectiles you fire with the junk shield do double the damage of the damage the shield also already does. And there we go. So, we go for the level. I just came with the Thunder Blaster here because whatever. And now we're about to fight Turbo Man. Yeah, we're about to fight Turbo Man. So, Turbo Man is a rather irregular robot. Wily ran out of resources while building Turbo Man, so we used parts from his old car and completed him, making him use petroleum as a primary energy source. Turbo Man uses the Scorch Wheel, a wheel fire that rolls along the ground, derived from his own fuel source. His hobby is to drive him around at high speeds with the engine volume high, especially on straightaways, but he'll suffer from poor mileage. But yeah, to beat Turbo Man, you have to like, I never get his pattern straight. He technically has one, but as you can see, it takes me a while to actually beat him because it's kind of frustrating to deal with his, Anyway, Turbo Man's entire thing is basically just being weak to the Noise Crush. Yeah. Just wait till the noise crash. There is a successful jump above him, but I never get the proper timing down, so I can't no damage him. I never no damage this guy. The last robot master weapon is right here. The last weapon's right here. The Scorch Wheel launches a flaming weapon, right? Yes, and the wheel may also burn the things it touches. Which is the second hint, the second half of the hint Pro Man gives you to get beat. But we are not gonna get, but you know, we already went over that. One more cutscene. Dr. Light, what happened? Freaking love you, man. Is that you, Mega Man? Base went berserk after I completed his repairs. He stole the parts from the new enhancements. That means he can also merge with his robot dog. Base? I can't believe it. How could I ever be fooled by someone claiming to be working against Dr. Wily when I've never seen that robot before? Believe it, Mega Man. Base and Treble are my creations. I knew that you would be stupid enough to trust him and allowing him access to the lab. Fucking. Now, Base and Treble will use enhancements. For you and Rush. I'll make you pay, Wily. Now we are going to enter Wily's castle at long last. So, what's really interesting about this, and I feel like I can tell you this right now, is that we don't have to deal with two different sets of Wily castle stages. It's just 4 Wily's castle stages, just like in the good old days. But, you know, that's just how it's gonna go. So we put that on the super adapter and we're ready to go. We dodge the purple flying birds. We fight through these cannons that shoot an arch. Actually, what are they? Do we even have a proper name? Do they have a proper file name? No, I don't think they have a proper name anywhere. It's very weird. I guess they're just a stage hazard. But, okay. So, we have all the upgrades in the game now. We have every little thing. As a result, our platforming capabilities are at their maximum. So, the hazards and the platforming will demand our absolute best. Like here, where we have to navigate behind spinning platform tiles. And every time you step on one, the lights go out. But we can just bypass them, as you can see here with the Rush Coil. Good old Rush Coil. In fact, I don't think we've bothered using Rush Jet once. Like, you can get it before you get the super adapter. And we beat the giant fan people. Get rid of them. We don't really need... I thought there was a health pickup, which is why I went for it, but that's actually for special weapon ammo. But really, the upgraded Rocket Fist charge weapon from the super adapter is pretty much all we need here. It's not as powerful as the Metal Blades. Nothing in the franchise will ever be as powerful as the Metal Blades. But it's one of those abilities that's pretty close when you stop and think about it. So, I can't hop over here. What we need to do is slide under to get the health up and slide under again in order to continue for the level. The trio villain again. The trio boy. The trio spike wheel dude. We just beat him up. Super adapter again. We don't really need to deal with him, but I just feel like it because the guy this thing bugs me on so many levels. And luckily, he took care of himself for us. A harder version of the platforming challenge I already did. Oh, right. Here, I tried the Rush Coil. The Rush Jet. And I immediately get folded. This is the only time I seriously used Beat, but I didn't really know how to use him properly, so Beat didn't help out very much. And luckily, we didn't have to travel very far. The good thing about the Wily stages is that every time you beat one, you go back to the main menu before you enter another Wily castle stage. So, we can collect bolts, we can collect the currency while playing each individual Wily stage, and we can spend the money we earn on restocking on supplies. Like the ability to buy more E-tanks and weapon tanks and weapon energy tanks in between the final few levels in the game is why I don't have a problem with being limited from 4 E-tanks again, like back in Mega Man 2, when up until this point we've been able to have up to 9 E-tanks instead. You can effectively have as many E-tanks as you can buy, especially since getting the bolt back to auto literally cuts the cost of getting those E-tanks in half. And the E-tanks you could already get were like pretty cheap, relatively speaking, if you know how to farm bolts. Like 60 bolts per E-tank is very cheap, relatively speaking. So now, with 30 bolts per E-tank, it's almost nothing to rebuy them. You are far too weak, Mega Man. Wily may fear you, but I do not. And this is the second base fight. Yeah, base is basically meant to be the replacement for Pro Man as far as Wily robot, who's also willing to serve as Mega Man's rival, but Pro Man took a while for us to learn. Round 1, Mega Man, but I'll be back. Well, it's actually round 2 if you're keeping count base, but yeah, basically, unlike Pro Man, who was hard enough in 3 to kick my butt a lot, plenty of times, before I could learn his pattern and deal with him properly, base is pretty much a joke. So, now I'm not gonna lie here, I died several times to Gutsman over here before I could figure out how to actually damage him. We need Noise Crush in order to get Gutsman to basically do what he did in Mega Man 1 and create ammo for him to use his super arm weapon against us for, but we'll use the Noise Crush to fling his own boulders at him in order to damage him. And that's the only way we can actually hurt him, aside from trying and failing to push him back away from us using the Mega Buster, which apparently is the only way to do it. I've tried, believe me, I've tried multiple times. That is the only way that hurt him, using his own, like, ammo against him. So we're almost there. I'm not even sure if you call this a weakness, really, because it's the only way to hurt him. But, either way it works. And yeah, this took me more than 5 or even 6 attempts in order to beat him off camera. You're just seeing the most successful run. Wily Castle 2. Since you can, like I said earlier, you can just go back to auto shop in between Wily Castle levels, I just edited out my visits to the shop. So that we can just get into the finale levels faster. And these upside down turrets are here, but we can super arm them, no problem. No problem. Those caterpillar robots, God, they look like caterpillars to me. Sniper Joe again, and the shield robots, no problem. The Sniper Joes are, I really think Sniper Joe looks like he could be like a robot master. Like, really, when you stop and think about it. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who's ever had that thought. But the super arm being able to, like, go through obstacles is really nice. But that's a lot of Sniper Joes back to back, honestly. Like, I don't normally, I've never seen this many Sniper Joes this close together before. It's very strange. But here we go. Bass and treble. Ah, my way's over. This time the mighty Mega Man shall fall. Treble. Attack. Remember, earlier, they stole the parts to upgrade themselves with, Mega Man and... Yeah, earlier, remember, they stole the parts to upgrade themselves with the Super Rush Adapter Armor. So, it's basically a mirror match, which is why it's so appropriate that his weakness is the Super Arms Rocket Charge Shot. But I did lose to him first. His attack pattern is trickier to get here because he actually does do more than just hop around the screen. And since he can fly way faster than us, it's very easy against the pattern of panicking and going way too far and trying to, like, dodge his attacks without actually bothering to look for a pattern. But if you don't panic, you can do that. Why? Why can't I destroy him? Well, Base, the reason you can't destroy me is because I'm just that good. That's really all there is to it. Like, I've been doing this for 6 years now, more than 6 years, since the 80s. Of course, Mega Man's too good for you to destroy in your first debut game. But, another set of puzzles, we're using the Springman puzzle gimmick here. And we have to deal with these frog-like robots now. Oh boy, do I really hate dealing with these frog robots, because, like, again, they do add a really decent challenge to this type of platforming issue. It's just, wow, that's annoying. Like, it's annoying because the springs are actually really good at forcing you to go in a certain direction, and I really didn't, it's pretty impatient, I admit, but for some reason I thought, oh no, there's more than one of them now. Why is there more than one of them now? Where did that come from? And the fact there's more than one of them is something I really never really, it feels like you really need the rush adapter in order to properly deal with those people. But, again, you should be able to platform up to here without using the double jump ability. So, it's probably just me not getting it properly. I don't know. Maybe I'm just impatient again. And straight from Springman's gimmick to Turbo Man's stage gimmick. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, like freezing them in place. I've never been good at the freezing puzzles. Never. Like, I was just, like, I did that by accident. Don't get me wrong, that was completely by accident. So I just gave up the ghost here and went back to the good old Super Rush Adapter. And as you can see here, it's a lot easier to, like, deal with the platforming challenge, but oh my god. I think it's just weird that it's very, very handy. Very handy how the just having a diagonal double jump I can do whatever I want with is incredibly good. Incredible. More batons to destroy, more floor. That's not even an enemy, it's an obstacle. It's just a floor obstacle. And 2 more batons, 3 more batons, we take care of those, we eat those up. We eat those up. Another tri-barrel, 2 of them, 2 of them, 2 of them, 2 of them. And we did lose a life here, which is why I warped over, past having to reclimb all this. So this boss is called the... Is he a sub-boss? The Gammarizer. or basically, it's a shout to Gamera, a giant turtle-like boss in the second Wily stage. Attacks by breathing fire and attempts to slam its body at Mega Man. After attacking, Gamerizer will leave the screen for a moment and summon 3 little turtle robots called Sporteros to attack. So, Gamerizer here is weak to... Yeah, sorry. He's weak to the Wild Coil, which is what you need to use to hit him super effectively. And his little robots there are weak to the charge attack from the Rush adapter. So, the fight here is about dodging Gamerizer's head, sliding into Gamerizer's shell, then switching back to the Rush adapter over and over again in order to build a proper attack that can destroy these turtles in one hit. Then you switch back to the Wild Coil. And I don't use the charged version of the shot here because it's really easy to panic and have that happen to me. And just miss the actual turtle head. Like, of course the shells are vulnerable, the turtle head's the weakness. It's very easy to fumble. Very easy to fumble. And the Wild Coil is just such a weird weapon to use. And we're just... It's not even really... He's not hard. He's not actually hard. But it's just really easy to panic. And again, my stick drift plays a part in this because there are parts where I could legitimately be not at fault for the way I actually get hit sometimes. Oh, yeah, one of the power-ups is a thing that lets you exit stages if you've beaten the boss already. Those are really useful if you're trying to look for collectibles in the Robot Master levels. And it's one thing, you don't have to buy multiple copies of it. I thought you did, which would have been really lame because they're like 100 bolts each. But no, just buy it and you can use it whenever you want. It's great. Gamerizer down, finally. Yeah, once you get the pattern, he's not a bad boss. It's just I kind of don't like how much I panic because of my bad controller and my own nerves. That's just the way I have to be. Wily Stage 3. So weird. These stages are a decent length. I feel like they're basically the length of 2 individual Wily stages from the NES games, now that I think about it. Like, we don't really need a Wily Castle, like, second set of Wily Castles, I'm not sure. Alright, take care of those, like, floor cannons over and over again. Take care of the floor cannons, we're good to go. Take care of the floor cannons. 2 Sniper Joes. 2 Sniper Joes. And that's annoying. That's just always annoying. It's worth the power of being able to, like... I understand now why they had to force you to, like, do it like this, because otherwise there's really no reason to bother with the base form or any of the super robot weapons if you lost the ability to slide. So that's a perfectly fair balance. It just feels annoying because so little of the level really requires you to slide. And it feels like the places where you need to slide in order to progress are really arbitrarily placed, because of how little they actually meaningfully come up when you stop and think about it. Triple cannon, tri-cannons, finally taken care of. No problem. It's not a big deal. Fine, go up the other ladder. Go up the other ladder. Do we really want that other life? I'm checking how many lives I got. We're full up on supplies, but technically you can get more lives than if you want. Fun fact, when you re-enter a new password when you load the game after taking a break, you don't record the number of lives you have collected through normal gameplay. You always begin with 2 lives collected. So basically, even if you use the code to give you maxed out bolts alongside every other collectible in the game, you would have to still go to Otto's shop and buy like 7 more life power-ups in order to get maximum lives again. I don't really understand why it works that way. So I did an error there, and that's why we just cut out my intentionally replaying the level in order to fix this error. You have to sit on these timed platforms in order to cross over the spiked pits, because there's not enough room to really get away with using Rush Jet. And if you do that, you get to go up here. Well, there are 2 paths forward. There's a above path and a below path. We took the above path because we were able to, like, make it work. And this got me really bad. I didn't need to redo it, by the way. I actually managed to make it work on the first attempt by carefully timing my jumps to the rhythm of the blocks, but I also had to take a few leaps of faith to assume I was going to land on a nice, safe location. So, here we go. You take that. Some of these are very leap of faith, like I said. Woo! That could have easily been it for me without the rush jet. But now we can get those free power-ups right there. Stegosaurus, mini-boss, really nice. We can take care of that. I'm not even sure that counts as a mini-boss, frankly. It just looks like it should. But the third Wily Castle boss, I'm gonna be very clear with you. This one also took me several attempts in order to get right. There are 2 weaknesses he has. The Noise Crush and the Slash weapon. I use the Slash weapon because you only need to care about getting close to the third Wily capsule. I mean, this thing doesn't even have a real name. It's called Japanese Robot. I'm not even kidding. That's all it's called. And I can actually deal with the fact that you have to hop on the rockets in order to get enough to get closer to attack the weakness. I can deal with that. I also like that you can at least consistently dodge the green laser attack as well as the 2, like, bombs that the Japanese robot boss throws at you. So, you know, why slide? Because it's a never-ending stage. This fight, you will have to keep going to the left, and that's the only thing you can do in order to make sure that you can actually hit this guy. And beyond that, I don't have anything else to really add here. There's a set pattern you can follow as far as dodging all of his attacks goes. Slide to avoid the green lasers, get as far away from as possible by sliding. After that, just get good enough to hop on the rockets and get close to his weakness with the Slash weapon. It's pretty open and shut there, and that's pretty much all I could do. If you get good enough rhythm, you can consistently deal damage. Like I can. Like, if I was better, I would be able to beat him right then and there. But it took me a while to get that. And we landed it properly. Alright then. That's the third Wily Castle boss defeated. That isn't base. And it isn't that Gamera turtle. So now we're on the 4th and final section of the Wily Castle fight. And it's time for everyone's favorite, but secretly least favorite part of a Mega Man game, which is the mandatory Robot Master boss rush. So, yeah, I restocked on power-ups, and we just did the thing, going inside, taking them on one at a time. First up is Freeze Man. Instead of hopping around the level in order to enter each robot pod at your leisure, you have an escalator you can travel in order to fight each of the robot masters in a order you want. Well, an elevator. I said escalator for some reason, but no, it's an elevator. But yeah, Freeze Man again, there's nothing to really say here because we already talked about these Robot Masters when we fought them earlier in the Let's Play. We have their robot weapons, we already know their information, and we already have their weaknesses. So all you're really seeing is me fight them again. I'm not necessarily more skilled at fighting them than when I first faced off against them either, because I still more or less have the easiest time fighting certain Robot Masters than I did beforehand, and the same goes for having the same amount of trouble fighting the Robot Masters I did earlier as well. Like here, I don't get any better at fighting Slash Man. It's just that I'm more cognizant of the fact that Slash Man does a lot of damage, and because of that, I have to waste one of my precious E-tanks healing up from fighting Slash Man, and that sucks a lot because like there, I didn't plan for that. He just happened to hit the ice shotgun I had. It takes me a while to figure out that this is an escalator because an elevator. See what I mean? It takes a while to figure out this is an elevator, and that's how I move to the next Robot Master fights, because I wasn't really sure how you could travel. But next up is Junk Man. So I took a bit to remember his weakness, which is the Thunderbolt. Like I said, it took a bit to remember his weakness, so forgive me here. Yeah. But I did not forget his pattern. Pretty simple stuff. So, in terms of difficulty, it's kind of up and down, these Robot Masters. Some of them are really stupidly easy, but that's just for reasons that aren't really related to the Robot Masters. Others will always damage me consistently because I can't quite figure out how to dodge them consistently. The Danger Wrap, I'm surprised I hit Cloudman. Like, I can't figure out how to dodge the Thunderbolt ASAP. Like, dodging the Thunderbolt directly doesn't mean I dodged what the Thunderbolt attack is supposed to do. And then there's like leading the Thunderbolt off the arena so I don't get hit. I can't figure that timing out yet. I didn't even know there's another part to the stage, to be honest. Like, I had no idea. That's like the one time I managed to successfully dodge Cloudman. The one time. Alright, so now we go down and... yeah, I temporarily thought that the other bosses were higher up, but it's not the big deal. Turbo Man. Turbo Man is another one I cannot consistently dodge any longer. Just very easy for me to mess him up. Or very easy to get messed up by him. Just very easy. Oh boy. Really, just... Turbo Man's a fun fight, but when you... like, these Front Masters are fun, but the problem here is that they mostly exist to force you to waste your resources for the real final bosses, which is Wily. But, you know, a moderately hard boss and a very easy boss. Slash Man, nothing to say here, just really shocked that how super easy it is. Like, Junkman can at least catch you off guard because he can attack you during his mercy invulnerability phase. So you'll get punished if you don't bother to pay attention to what he's doing, but Slashman just... I'm very thankful for it, frankly. I'm not complaining about this, really. It's just that it's kind of nuts to see it all the time. Okay. Second to last one is Shade Man, so we peck on the Super Adapter again. Make sure we can, like, deal with it as Rush Mega Man. Oh. Alright. This, yeah, I didn't remember if we got vampire bitten by him at all on camera, really. I can't remember. I feel like I did. I may have just did it in another take, I don't know. But either way, you can slide underneath his Noise Crush weapon, but we don't have the ability to slide while using his weakness. So, last but not least here is, of course, the one that started all, which is Bowman. And now, last and not least is Bowman. I'm sorry, Burst Man. Because he might as well be some sort of Super Bowman. It's embarrassing how many times I've lost this dude. Embarrassing. And it's not even because he's actually hard. It's just because you have to conserve E-tanks for the actual final boss. He's not hard. The pressure of having to beat him without wasting any more life-restoring items just makes me really antsy to bother with him, honestly. Really antsy. But since he actually has a weakness, we can talk about that, and it's really easy to clip him with his weakness by jumping over him and hitting him with the spread effect. But we're finally done with those rehashes. Now we can get to the proper final boss. This thing. Dear God Almighty, this thing. Wily Machine 7. So, its weakness is the Thunderbolt. But to hit Wily in the center, you have to time your jumps to when Wily is low enough for your jumps to land a bullseye. Otherwise, you'll just waste ammo and miss, and you'll take health damage. This nonsense happens, though. And because of that, we have to deal with this. Sometimes during the fight, he'll throw this out at you, which is a couple of moves to help you. It's not really set, honestly. When exactly in the fight Wily will do this? Oh, and those things will block. They can't be destroyed at all by your shots, so yeah. This is what you get. I'm just bracing myself for the second phase of the final boss, which is the Wily Capsule. The Wily Capsule of Mega Man 7 is considered one of the toughest bosses in Mega Man due to its high power, attacks are difficult to dodge, and can paralyze the player, as well as the small amount of damage it takes from its weakness. You're about to see exactly what all that means here. Difficult to dodge attacks are all-powerful and paralyze the player. He shoots out 3 elemental blasts of energy, fire, ice, and lightning, and if you dodge all of those somehow, he'll have a follow-up attack where he shoots out another thunder blast similar to Cloudman that hits the ground and spreads out in order for you, well, you have to try to dodge it. The only way to stop the energy blast attack from landing or from being fired at all is to hit him with the Thunderbolt, which is what I was trying to do earlier, but the problem here is that the Thunderbolt has to hit him. And he's too high up for you to hit him with the Thunderbolt. He technically has another weakness in the the freeze cracker. But as you can see, I'm basically just wasting everything I have in the tank in order to fight him. So I try to use this proper weakness, but I'm still not adept enough to use it properly. And at this point, I've been playing so long, I've forgotten that in order to make the springs bounce higher, you have to hold the up button before you fire in order to get them to bounce. I tried holding them down because I thought the logic was hold them down in order to make them bounce higher. But unfortunately, that just causes the wild coil to... And that's when I get it right. Unfortunately, I get it right too late because I'm out of time. So we have to retry the entire rush again. Luckily, luckily we can have a checkpoint right there. I don't mind showing you my failed attempt at fighting the final boss, because it's the final boss. It's not a big deal. And it's basically the game, so it's not, again, a huge deal. Yeah, it's easier to get him and hit your tempo when he comes down. You have to slide, the only way to avoid damage is to slide under him when he shows up. And the weird part is, like I said earlier, you can get cycles where he doesn't summon his minions to irritate you and block your attacks. This is like my luckiest run against the Wily Machine 7. And it's the entire reason I have this much health left over for the Wily capsule proper. And I needed every bit of health I had. Because if I didn't beat Wily like this, I was very likely not going to be able to beat Wily at all. This is like payback for everyone who used Beat to defeat Wily in Mega Man 5 without even trying. And like I said, there's his weakness, which does very little damage to him. One other strategy you have to utilize is letting yourself get hit by the Thunderball if you can't avoid getting hit by anything else at all. I was so close to accidentally undoing all my progress there. It's very difficult for me to remember what buttons actually bring up my weapons when I'm playing this game. Somehow, I dodged all of that. Don't ask me how I did it. Don't ask me how I did it. It just happens sometimes. There is a guy on YouTube who's beaten this boss without taking any hits. That dude is a legend. I'm sure he's not the only guy either, but... yeah, the lava stuff's what I want to avoid. But you can't really avoid it all the time. So, that's pretty much... and I went back for a weapon capsule as well. One of those fulfills all your weapon energy for everything, which is kind of the controller stick drift one last time to try and mess me up. And I missed that one because he was right under me. Can't really do anything about that. And sometimes you have no choice but to get hit by one element you don't want to be hit by. That's just the way it goes because it's very random. After this I heal up because I'm not going to take chances. With the very last healing item I have, which restores health and weapon energy. So, just one more dodge. And we can beat Wily Capsule. Jesus, tap dancing Christ. KG Fury said, let's make the very last fight insanely hard, and he did. By God, did he. Okay, I give up. Sorry about all the trouble. I'll go quietly. Some humility at long last. I don't trust you, Wily. I'm gonna do what I should have done years ago. Oh. You forget, Mega Man. Robots follow the 3 laws of compliance, so you can't hurt humans. I am more
Oh, one more
than
thing, sir.
a robot. Die, Wily. And it's just, this whole script change is not how this entire plot is supposed to go. It's very much something added by America. When Wily says this line in Japanese, Mega Man doesn't reply because he's right and he can't actually hurt Wily even if he wants to. But in America, it looks like Mega Man is interrupted by Bass on purpose. Too late, Mega Man. He who hesitates is lost. We shall return. In Mega Man 8 and in Mega Man and Bass. It's kind of like how I think, I don't know if Bass actually says the word damn like he did earlier in the Let's Play either in Japan, but it's very noticeable when he does that. So Mega Man solemnly walks away from the exploding Wily Castle like it's some cheesy action film, contemplating why he couldn't just pull the trigger that's literally built into his right arm and put an end to Dr. Wily before the events of Mega Man X ever happened. And while he contemplates this, let's talk over the credits. So this Let's Play is a took a very long time to come up on my YouTube channel compared to my last upload, which would be my Pokemon Crystal Legacy Elemental Exchange Nuzlocke. A very long time, and it's entirely because I had to get used to playing Mega Man 7. I had to figure out how I was going to approach Mega Man 7. I had to figure out if I was even going to do a post-Let's Play voiceover for Mega Man 7 like I did for the Nuzlocke video. Because while I don't mind the way my initial couple of Mega Man Let's Plays turned out, it's very difficult for me to play and give commentary at the same time when these games are so hard they demand my complete and utter attention. It's easier for me to talk while I'm playing on a live stream when the gameplay isn't so demanding. That's why it's a lot easier for me to give commentary when I'm playing an RPG. And even then, the RPG has to in some way be turn-based in order to for me to take the time to actually say everything I need to say. Like, I've been trying very hard to say anything meaningful during the Mega Man Let's Plays, but it's very difficult to. So, that was also another hesitation and deterrent, because doing this, and let me tell you, it's not easy sitting here and recording hours of footage, and then spending hours more talking in order to fill in the dead air that the gameplay footage already has. I just want to make sure these videos come out as good as they can. I don't really, because I do really want to play these games, and I do want to show up to how much I do like playing these games. They're all good. Some are very flawed, but they're good enough. Well, okay, Mega Man 1 is like the worst one, simply because it's the first one, and it's very Capcom arcade style. And 3, I don't like playing as much. But for the most part, what I end up doing here is just, I think, better for me going forward. Even if it does mean having to do more. Well, the only other thing I could possibly do is add in voice recording after the fact on top of the initial commentary I give during the live streams I do play. but I'm not sure how practical that is either. But either way, this is another experiment for sure. I don't know how long it's going to take me to come up with the Mega Man 8 Let's Play, and that's just Mega Man 8. I don't know if I'm even going to play 9 and 10 next to finish off the Legacy Collection, the second Legacy Collection as a whole, or if I'm just going to switch over to play the game, or if I'm going to switch over to play the Mega Man X collections, or if I'm just going to go straight into playing the GameCube games, the Wily Wars, or maybe I'm just going to play maybe even the Battle Network games. Really, when you're jumping this much into a new franchise you haven't played since ever, when you're experiencing a new franchise that's been around this long, the sky is basically the limit as far as what else you can add to the table and what else you can do. What else you can show your audience what you're willing to play. And what I'm willing to show you guys is someone who's dedicated to just trying to make sure that his experience with these games is something you enjoy watching him play. So this freeze frame picture here is just a really nice, happy picture. I really enjoyed playing this game at the end of the day. So thank you all for watching me play it. Whatever my plan is next, just know that Mega Man 8 will be next on the channel. And your patience will be rewarded. Just please stick with me and this possible new direction for the channel going forward. If it works out for me, it works out. If it doesn't work out for me on that well, I can just switch back to the old method. But either way, it's been a blast playing Mega Man 7 for all of you.